To talk more about Saudi Arabia, Gaza, and the other actors in the region, let's bring in Asher Fredman. He's the executive director at the Misgav Institute for National Security, and he's a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation as well. Welcome to the program, Asher. So, I mean, we have been hearing that the Saudis are increasingly frustrated with the way the situation is unfolding in Gaza. They don't like Qatar and Turkey's influence. They don't see Hamas disarming anytime soon. The question is President Trump cognizant of that? Is he factoring that in as he moves forward and pushes Israel to go into phase 2 of the plan?
Thank you, Laura. And you're absolutely right. The Saudis don't want Hamas to be in control of Gaza. They understand far better than many in the West Hamas's true nature. They understand that Qatar and Turkey are supportive of Hamas, of the Muslim Brotherhood. Recall the GCC, the Saudi Arabia led a boycott of essentially a siege of Qatar from 2017 to 2021. The question is, what are they communicating to President Trump? Because their first priority was to stop the devastating scenes that were coming on the Arab television networks day after day after day and impacting their population. Now that's ended. And now it's critical that Saudi Arabia, that other moderate Arab states that really do want a better future for Gaza and for the region, communicate to the U.S. president that Hamas is not going anywhere, and there needs to be a new strategy if we truly want to make sure that Hamas doesn't once again become an existential threat to the state of Israel.
Now, declaring sovereignty over Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria, or annexing the West Bank, however you want to call it, that is back on the table right now, isn't it? And this is all very reminiscent of what happened with the Emiratis, as you will know as someone who worked on the Abraham Accords back then. Are Israel's intentions being kind of overblown so the Saudis can look as though they're taking something off the table that isn't really there in the first place?
I don't think this is kind of a 4D chess. I think this was, as the Vice President Vance said, basically a dumb political stunt, which certainly should not have happened at the current moment. Now, it's clear that Israel is never going to give up control of the Jordan Valley. For example, the threats to the Jewish state would be very, very great if it were other strategic areas. I believe, as Owen said, there is among the Israeli public, there's no constituency, or very, very little constituency, for the idea of allowing a Palestinian state that would build up its military and could well be dominated by Hamas to take over the hilltops overlooking Ben Gurion Airport. But there was really no need, in my view, to have this kind of vote. And I don't think it was part of some larger regional plan.
Okay, what about those insults by Bezalel Smotrich today? Do you think that they did some real damage to this, budding relationship with Saudi Arabia? Or do you think the Saudis have kind of factored Smotrich and Ben Gvir in?
The culture of camels, of camel racing in the GCC and the Arab world is a very, very important culture. So this kind of off-the-hand remark, and he later apologized, didn't apologize, was absolutely unnecessary. The Saudis still are very interested in what they can get from the United States, of course, are interested in what they can get by expanding cooperation with Israel, but they're also taking into account the public opinion in their country, in the region, which has been deeply impacted by the last 2 years of war. And a statement by the Smotrich certainly does not help.
I want to go back to Gaza. Sorry to go back to where we started, but it does look, or some analysts are saying that it does look as though we're shaping up for 2 Gazas inside the Gaza Strip. We're going to have an IDF-controlled zone, which will be redeveloped and rebuilt, and we're going to have a lawless, violent, Hamas-run zone, which will remain in ruins. Do you think the Arab states would back this, the moderate Arab states?
So it's important to note that even though Israel now controls approximately 53% of the land of Gaza, that's in the IDF zone, about 80% of the population is in the Hamas-held zone. And as Ahmed Fouad al-Khatib said in our Mideast Horizons podcast yesterday, essentially Hamas is holding the Gazan civilian population as a hostage. Some obviously support Hamas, but many don't. I think that Gaza is slowly shaping up to be the hub, the nexus of a wider conflict between this emergent Muslim Brotherhood access of Hamas, Qatar, Turkey, and a moderate Abraham Accords alliance of Israel, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt. It's not there yet, but that may be where we're heading in this bifurcated Gaza.
Asher, great to talk to you as always. Asher Fredman there from the Misgav Institute for National Security.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening.
Thanks a lot.